so let's talk about it. Alright, so I'm a person who doesn't like to do anything without a plan, right? So even though I didn't go to school to study business, I don't know that much about business. I knew that I needed to plan my business ahead of time before I jump headfirst into it. So today we're going to talk about business consultation from NEDCO, and it's very affordable. I believe other private companies have business consultation fees for about 500 TT, and NEDCO has it for 100. I believe though about at least 2 or 3 years ago this was free. You could literally just walk into NEDCO and somebody could talk to you and give you advice for free, because this is a government entity. Most of the fees of course are subsidized, and its main purpose is for the development of entrepreneurs and small businesses, right? So they have done a lot of upgrades recently. I know because a lot of people try to scam them, so it's much more difficult and probably time consuming to get a loan to fund your business from them. I think before they used to make the check out to the business owner, or at least to the business itself, but now they would require that you get all the invoices from all the suppliers and all the equipment that you want to buy, and then they would just write the checks out individually to these other businesses or suppliers from which you want to buy materials, right? But that's just a side note, because today we're not talking about sourcing funding. That's for our next video, right, for your business. So I went and I literally had about 2 pieces of paper here, right? I had to dig up and find this. Well, not true, anyway it was. And this one, which is kind of just like a layout. I know you can't see it. Maybe I'll put a better picture, but I'm gonna explain what's on these papers. So basically, I mean, after I contacted NEDCO, because they're actually right down the hill from where I work, so I went on my lunch hour and I talked to them, and I had to make an appointment because there's only one guy for the whole of the country who deals with business consultation specifically. Each one of the NEDCO branches have like several people to do the loan aspect, but in terms of just business consultation and I guess advisory services or consultancy services, it's just one guy, right? So I made my appointment and I went in with my 2 pieces of paper filled out in pencil, because even though I know I was ridiculously underprepared, I still didn't want to look it. I know I look very young and naive and impressionable, so also, you know, I wanted to feel like, for myself, a little bit confident, but I was not confident because I don't know what I'm doing. But at least I wanted to have some questions and at least a clear picture, or a clearish picture in my mind about what I want my business to be, so that I could convey that message to him easily, so that he could give me the best advice, right? So basically, I went online and I found this little table format in where you would do your business plan basically, and they have different sections, right? So one section is about the key partners, the key activities, the key resources, your value proposition, clear customer relationships, customer segments, revenue streams, and cost structure, right? So I wrote down things within each one of these blocks. I had in mind, if I was ever going to partner with anybody, I had like my close friends and family, right? In terms of the structure, I had already broken down, okay, I want to have my website up and running. What is the cost of that? The cost of like educational products for me to learn how to do certain things within my business. That would have been one of the costs, but most of the courses, any type of equipment I would have needed, and vice versa. I looked into some sort of revenue stream. In the beginning, it might have just been maybe ads or affiliate marketing or sponsorship, but at that time I didn't really have, I had a product in mind, but it was something vastly different from what I'm actually beginning to sell now, right? Once I get everything and the ball rolling, I will roll out my other product later on. My value proposition was mainly based on like helping people from countries like mine, my country, my region, and other third world countries, kind of reaching that type of target audience. And I knew that I'd be hitting certain pain points for people, especially young working people who were not afforded the opportunities to have their career. They have the education, but there's simply no jobs for them. So I was going to kind of help them see that there are other ways that you could use your skills to have income coming in online, right? Stuff like that. So I thought about it, I fleshed out everything. I came up with my name because I had different sections of my business that I wanted to operate under, right? And that's why I came up with the acronym Basic Enterprise. And then this little flower wheel thingy, right, basically has the different types of social media platforms I had intended to use for the different segments for my business, right? And I was going to build out each section of my business with time. And I was going to start with like the business side and the investment side. So I wanted to start with doing investments, whether it be foreign exchange trading or real estate investments, right? And then the business side, I had one business product that I wanted to roll out that was kind of for everybody to utilize, like the everyday person, not just business owners, right? And those are the things I was going to focus on in the beginning, but I knew that I wanted to eventually have like an ebook or some digital products that were like graphic design type products, and also products like possibly a course, an online course. So I told him about this. I wanted to do digital products and maybe even physical products, and he said you could do all that under one business, because that was one of my first questions. Do I have to now separate all my businesses because they are from different genres and stuff? And I told him a bit about my background and the different things I wanted to incorporate within my business, and he was like, you could go ahead and sell anything you want online. You could be like an online retailer. And that's where I got the description for my business, because when he said that, I was like, oh, then that's what I'm going to be, an online retailer. But as I came to find out, I can't just put online retailer when registering my business. That's too vague, that's not enough. But of course I didn't know that, right? So as I said, that was one of the questions I asked him, and he was like, you could do all those things except for the real estate. You should really do a separate business for the real estate, because you want to have real estate in the name of the business, right? So I was like, oh, okay, check, right? Another thing I asked him about, like, legalities, accounting, taxation, stuff like that. So he was like, if you're a sole trader, you don't need to go and get a business tax number, BIR number, or NIS number. You could basically just add on the taxes to yourself, since it's only you, right? So I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, NEDCO offers taxation courses, so you could always look into that to learn how to do your taxes as an entrepreneur. And I was like, okay, great, it's good information so far, right? And he said the courses are only about 500, and they usually have a few courses every quarter, right? Good. The only thing is that it was in a week, and I didn't know how I was going to get time off to do it. But then the lockdown happened, so who knows what's going on with that right now. I'm not sure. And then in terms of Right. So in terms of legal requirements, because I know there are things that you either need to trademark or copyright. So he told me, okay, well, you need to contact the intellectual property office for that, and you could go onto their website to find out more information about that. So I was like, okay, cool. And I have no problem with that. I rather people direct me to where I will get the valid information instead of trying to be a person who knows everything when they really don't. So I had no problem with that. I was like, okay, I could look that up on my own, right? So here's the thing. I asked him about having, like, since it would be two businesses, if I should have two business bank accounts, which even though it's an obvious question, but I still needed the answer, right? And then I asked him about credit unions, if they have like business bank accounts, and he was like, yes, if you want to have a business bank account with a credit union, you can. So I was like, okay, cool, because credit unions have much lower interest rates when you take a loan. So I was like, oh, if I could get with a credit union, that might be better to buy land with for the real estate business, right? So I was like, okay, great. So I was doing a lot of research because my business is online and I need some sort of payment gateway for my website or some sort of program that I could use. So in my research, which is a basic internet search, right, I came across CXPay, which is probably one of the only things that I was able to research that was out there on the internet of how you would create a payment gateway within your website, right? And they were only compatible with about 2 banks in our country. So I was going to bring this up with him, ask him, since he's a business person. He pride himself on knowing about online business because he said he has an online business himself, but apparently the only program or payment application that he uses is PayPal. Now everybody and their mom know about PayPal. I know about PayPal too, but when I was looking into PayPal, there was a lot of issues when it comes to people from my country and a lot of other third world countries. There's no problem to use PayPal, connect your credit card to it, and purchase things online. But when it comes to receiving money, I've seen on the internet through my research a lot of horror stories of PayPal freezing their accounts and red flagging it and all of that. So I was asking him about, is PayPal really a viable option? And he was just like, yeah, PayPal. So then I was trying to press him further because I feel like I did more research than he does or something, I don't know. So I was like, okay, well, what about having like a Visa debit card connected to PayPal instead of your credit card? Because of course you can't get a business credit card right away, right? You need to build up credit as a business before you could get a business credit card. So how in the hell am I going to connect an imaginary business credit card that I won't be qualified for in order to connect it to a PayPal account in order for me to generate income on my online business? But he was just like, PayPal. So obviously I realized I wasn't getting anywhere with him. I feel like me and probably 2 other people are the only people who knows about CXPay, which is like a godsend, but like people just not on this online business, at least not in a big way, for it to be common knowledge. Other than that, when I realized, okay, he can't help me with any PayPal problems I might particularly have, he also advised me about using QuickBooks for my accounting, right? I don't really need of purchasing any accounting software at this point in time. I don't really see it necessary until I'm making like a lot of money and for some reason I can't manage income and expenses and net income and then calculate the tax from that. Simple Excel, but we will see. And then the other things he told me that was very applicable was the things I would need to open up a business bank account. So he told me about I needed a cash flow projection, and he explained as basically showing the bank for about a year or 2 what your expected income and expenses would be so that they could have an idea of how the cash flow would be within the business bank account, right? And of course, you need the other normal things like the business certificate and forms of ID, etc., etc. So he gave me some advice also on the real estate parts of the business that I wanted to do, which he advised to be a whole separate business altogether. So as I was getting advice, I felt as though, it seemed a bit discouraging at first. Like he was discouraging me and saying stuff like, why do you want to go into real estate? It's such a saturated market and people not really buying houses anymore or really have land anymore. And I was just looking at him like, what?
Are you actually saying that?
Like, there's a lot of land still. Places still developing down where I am. Other people building up. 10 years ago, people weren't building there. Now, the value of the land up there, right? So, I don't know what he was talking about with that. That's kind of weird. But I felt like, I don't think that's a bad business idea, Then he told me that I need to get a real estate license, right, in order to go into real estate. So me, not knowing anything, after that I went and I was calling the different schools that offer any type of certification in real estate, and I was asking them, okay, is this the course that you do? Well, I was emailing them, is this the course that you do to get like a real estate license? And I felt like nobody knew what I was talking about, so I started to do research, and it seems that something along those lines exists, but I feel as though it's not heavily utilized or enforced for that matter, because then the people who, I think it's only UWI, the University of the West Indies, that offering any type of real estate diploma or course that would then warrant a license, right? A real estate license. And if they don't know what the heck I'm talking about, then that's kind of alarming, because then it would be like I was fed misinformation, and I probably could have, instead of trying to go to school to learn something for 2 years, I could have just opened my business same way regardless, right? So that was just one thing that was kind of just a little bit iffy, but again, I'm not completely sure, and I haven't done much more research into the real estate simply because I tried to get some capital, but I do not have enough capital right now to build up anything substantial that could be turned into an income generating apartment. In terms of that, I'm really going to be focusing on my online business, and then hopefully once that is successful, I could then fund the real estate business. But some of the things I would say I got my answers for. Some of them I was expecting better answers. I only came with a few questions because I kind of had fleshed out most of what my business is. I just kind of needed somebody to tell me, okay, if I'm going in the right direction or not, which I think that he did, but there were just some discouraging moments and some moments that were a bit disappointing, because I really thought I would get a little bit more insight into the PayPal issues that we would be facing, and I don't think he really knows about that. So yet again, I feel like I'll be the guinea pig, testing all these things out, seeing what could work for me, what can't work, and I'll just be documenting the process so that other people don't have to, go through all this trial and error. I will be going back to get some funding, like at least I think I could get funding for like equipment. So right now all I'm using is my iPad and this lav microphone, but maybe I could get a PC. I think that's legitimate source or resource, for online business. So, and anything else that I could squeeze in there that I could make sense that I need money for, I'm going to do that. So stay tuned for that video. It will be coming up as soon as I am able to register this business and there aren't any more hiccups in this video. I would link above. You'd see some of the challenges that I had in terms of finding or reserving my business name. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet at the time of filming this video, and if it's anything, I'll probably have to rename my channel and rebrand a little bit, depending. Most likely I would have to. I don't really want to, but that's how life is sometimes. Would I recommend this business consultation? Yes. It's only $100. It's good enough information. Even if you don't have all the questions, he will go through like basic things with you. He also gives you an open contact, so he gave me his number and email so you could contact him if you have further questions and stuff like that. So that's also good. You have a good support. I never really take him up on it because I'm just not the type of person to like be harassing people. I find like I could do research, I could figure it out. If it's something really pressing that I can't figure out, then maybe I might reach out, but hardly ever. I probably just really independent and to myself like that, but that's just how I am. But if you're a person who like need that hand holding and like that, it's a good option. I don't have anything to compare with it because I haven't done any business consultations with any other companies that are private or otherwise, but I didn't think it was a waste of my money. I think that hopefully things would upgrade, because they do have courses like on digital marketing and stuff, so, and digital platforms, businesses. So I would think that they would upgrade, you know, at least know about different payment gateways other than PayPal, and have better, some options, have better recommendations for people who come to do the consultation. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.